The robotic dealer's voice cut through the hum of the casino like a blade. "Final hand, show your cards." Jack Ace Harper leaned back in his chair, the glow of the holographic table casting shadows across his face. Around him, the alien players shifted uneasily, their tentacles, claws, and shimmering scales reflecting the dim light. Jack's fingers hovered over his cards for a moment before flipping them onto the table. "Full house," he said, his voice steady. The room froze. Then, a Zorgalian with iridescent skin slammed its appendage on the table, its voice a guttural snarl. "Cheat, no human could win this hand." The accusation echoed like a thunderclap, and the casino erupted into chaos. Chairs toppled, alien voices rose in outrage, and the robotic dealer's monotone announcement cut through the din. "Humans are hereby banned from all interstellar poker tournaments, effective immediately." Jack's heart sank as the words hung in the air, heavy with finality. The galaxy had just drawn a line, and humanity was on the wrong side of it. As the dust settled in the casino, the story took a dramatic turn. The Galactic Council, a body of the galaxy's most influential species, convened to investigate the incident that had shaken the interstellar poker community. Jack Harper, still reeling from the ban, was summoned to testify before the council. The chamber was a vast, domed room filled with representatives from countless alien civilizations, each seated in their designated sectors. The air buzzed with tension as Jack stepped forward, his footsteps echoing in the silence. The first to speak was a Quarlian diplomat, its translucent skin shimmering under the chamber's light. "We have reviewed the holographic recordings of the final hand," it said, its voice a melodic hum. "Your bluffs defy probability. No species, let alone a human, could achieve such results without manipulation." The council's screens lit up, displaying Jack's gameplay in slow motion. Every fold, every raise, every calculated risk was scrutinized. The evidence seemed damning. Jack straightened his posture, his voice firm. "What you call manipulation, I call strategy. Humans don't rely on telepathy or probability algorithms. We use intuition, observation, and adaptability. That's not cheating, it's ingenuity." His words hung in the air, met with a mix of murmurs and skeptical glances. A Krillian representative, its scales glinting like polished metal, leaned forward. "Ingenuity or not, your unpredictability disrupts the balance of the game. How can we trust a species that thrives on chaos?" The debate grew heated. A Zorgalian diplomat, its voice a low growl, argued, "Humans are a liability. Their history is riddled with conflict and instability. Allowing them to participate risks the integrity of our traditions." Jack countered, "Our flaws make us unique. They also make us capable of innovation and resilience. Banning us won't solve your fear of the unknown, it'll only widen the gap between us." Despite his impassioned defense, the council remained divided. Some saw Jack's actions as a testament to human potential, while others viewed them as a threat to galactic harmony. The Quarlian diplomat raised a tentacle, signaling the end of the session. "This matter requires further deliberation. The council will reconvene after reviewing additional evidence." As the representatives dispersed, Jack was left alone in the chamber, his mind racing. Had his actions doomed humanity's reputation in the galaxy, or was there still a chance to prove that humans belonged at the table? The council's adjournment left more questions than answers, but one thing was clear: the stakes had never been higher. As Jack walked out of the chamber, he couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning of a much larger battle, one that would determine humanity's place among the stars. As the council's deliberations left Jack with more questions than answers, he knew he couldn't wait for their verdict. The stakes were too high, and the truth was out there somewhere. It was time to take matters into his own hands. That's when he crossed paths with Zix, a rogue alien hacker with a reputation for cracking the galaxy's most secure systems. Zix, a wiry figure with glowing cybernetic implants and a knack for staying one step ahead of the law, had his own reasons for wanting to expose the truth. "You're not the only one they've wronged," Zix said, his voice a low, mechanical hum. "But if we're going to do this, we do it my way." The two formed an unlikely alliance, their shared goal outweighing their differences. Under the cover of darkness, they infiltrated the casino's security archives, a labyrinth of encrypted data streams and holographic firewalls. Zix's fingers danced across a holographic interface, bypassing layers of security with ease. "This isn't just about cheating," Zix muttered as lines of code flickered across the screen. "It's about control. The aliens fear your kind's adaptability. They can't predict you, and that terrifies them." As they delved deeper into the archives, they uncovered something far more sinister than they had anticipated: a hidden algorithm designed specifically to detect human players. The algorithm wasn't just a tool, it was a weapon programmed to flag human strategies as anomalies and trigger automatic disqualifications. "This isn't random," Zix said, his voice tense. "Someone went to great lengths to make sure humans couldn't compete. This is a conspiracy." The trail led them to a powerful alien syndicate, a shadowy organization with ties to the highest levels of galactic authority. The syndicate had orchestrated the entire scandal, framing Jack to justify the ban on humans. "They're not just trying to keep you out of the game," Zix explained. "They're trying to keep humanity out of the galaxy's future. You're a threat to their power." But the syndicate wasn't about to let their secrets be exposed. As Jack and Zix prepared to download the evidence, the archive's security systems activated, trapping them in a web of laser grids and automated drones. "We've got company," Zix said, his voice calm but urgent. "Time to go." The duo fought their way through the chaos, narrowly escaping the casino with their lives and the evidence. As they regrouped in a hidden safe house, the weight of their discovery settled over them. "This isn't just about poker anymore," Jack said, his voice steady but filled with determination. "This is about proving that humanity belongs in the galaxy. We've got to expose the truth before it's too late." With the syndicate closing in and the council's decision looming, Jack and Zix knew they were running out of time. But they also knew one thing for certain: the game had changed, and they were the only ones who could rewrite the rules. As the dust settled from their narrow escape, Jack and Zix prepared to take their findings to the Galactic Council. The evidence they had uncovered was damning proof of a conspiracy designed to keep humanity out of the galaxy's future. But as they stepped into the council chamber, the air was thick with tension. The room, a vast hall of shimmering alien architecture, was filled with representatives from countless species, each watching with a mix of curiosity and suspicion. Jack stepped forward, holding a holographic data crystal containing the evidence. "Council members," he began, his voice steady but firm, "what you're about to see will change everything. This isn't just about poker. This is about fairness, about truth, and about the future of humanity in the galaxy." He activated the crystal, and the room was bathed in light as the recordings played footage of the hidden algorithm, the syndicate's communications, and the deliberate framing of human players. The council members murmured among themselves, their expressions ranging from shock to disbelief. But before Jack could continue, a deep, resonant voice cut through the noise. "Enough," the word echoed through the chamber, and all eyes turned to the source. It was Lord Vexx, the leader of the syndicate, his towering figure cloaked in dark, ornate robes. His presence alone seemed to shift the energy in the room, and even the council members fell silent, Vexx stepped forward, his piercing gaze fixed on Jack. "You speak of fairness and truth," he said, his voice dripping with disdain. "But what of humanity's history? Your species is defined by conflict, by chaos, by your inability to coexist even with yourselves. You bring your unpredictability to our galaxy, and you expect us to welcome it." He gestured to the holographic evidence. "This so-called conspiracy is nothing more than a necessary measure to protect galactic harmony. Humans are a threat, and your ban is not just justified, it is essential." The room erupted into murmurs, the council members visibly divided. Some nodded in agreement with Vexx, while others looked to Jack, waiting for his response. Jack took a deep breath, his mind racing. He knew this was the moment to defend not just himself, but all of humanity. "Our flaws," Jack began, his voice rising with conviction, "are what make us unique. Yes, we've made mistakes. Yes, we've fought among ourselves. But those struggles have also made us resilient, creative, and capable of greatness. You fear us because we're unpredictable, but that unpredictability is also our strength. It's what allows us to adapt, to innovate, to overcome challenges that others might see as impossible." He paused, looking around the room, meeting the eyes of the council members. "Banning us won't solve your fear of the unknown. It will only prove that you're unwilling to understand us. And if this council truly stands for unity, then you must give us a chance to prove that we belong here." The room was silent for a moment, the weight of Jack's words hanging in the air, but the silence was short-lived. Vexx stepped forward again, his expression darkening. "Your words are empty," he spat. "You speak of unity, but your actions speak of chaos. If the council will not act, then I will." He turned to the council, his voice cold and commanding. "This is not just a matter of poker, this is a matter of galactic security. If humanity is not contained, the consequences will be dire, and if you will not make the hard decision, then I will take matters into my own hands." The tension in the room reached a boiling point, the council members visibly shaken by Vexx's threat. Jack clenched his fists, his mind racing. He knew they were running out of time and options. But as he looked around the room, he also knew one thing for certain. This wasn't just a fight for humanity's place in the galaxy. It was a fight for the very soul of the galaxy itself. And he wasn't about to back down. As the tension in the council chamber reached its peak, a sudden shift in the atmosphere signaled a turn of events no one saw coming. Zix, the rogue alien hacker who had been Jack's ally, stepped forward, his expression unreadable. The room fell silent as he raised a hand, his voice cutting through the chaos. "I'm sorry, Jack," he said, his tone devoid of emotion, "but this was never about you. It was about survival. My species' survival." Jack froze, his mind struggling to process the words. "What are you talking about?" he demanded, his voice tinged with disbelief. But before he could say more, Zix turned to Lord Vexx, bowing his head in a gesture of submission. "The deal is done," Zix said. "My people will have their place in the galaxy, as promised." The revelation hit Jack like a punch to the gut. Zix had been working for Vexx all along, using Jack to uncover the evidence only to betray him at the last moment. The council members exchanged uneasy glances, their trust in the proceedings shaken. Vexx, however, wore a triumphant smirk as he stepped forward. "You see," he said, addressing the council, "even those who stand with humanity cannot be trusted. This is the chaos they bring: division, betrayal, and instability." Before Jack could react, guards clad in sleek, alien armor moved in, seizing him and dragging him to the center of the chamber. The council members watched in silence as Vexx raised a hand, demanding order. "This ends now," he declared. "Jack Harper will stand trial, and humanity's fate will be decided once and for all." The ban will be made permanent, and the galaxy will be safer for it. Jack struggled against his restraints, his mind racing. He knew a public trial would be nothing more than a spectacle, a way for Vexx to solidify his narrative and ensure humanity's exclusion. But as he looked around the room, he realized there was only one way to turn the tide. "If you're so confident in your cause," Jack said, his voice steady despite the chaos, "then prove it. Not with words, but with action. I challenge you, Vexx, to a game of poker. My freedom, humanity's future, against your pride and your so-called truth. Let the cards decide." The room erupted into murmurs, the council members exchanging shocked glances. Vex's smirk faltered for a moment, but he quickly regained his composure. "A game of poker," he sneered. "You think a simple card game will change anything? It's not just a game," Jack shot back. "It's a test of skill, strategy, and nerve. Everything you claim humanity lacks, unless, of course, you're afraid to face me." The challenge hung in the air, the tension palpable. For a moment, it seemed Vexx might refuse, but the murmurs of the council members grew louder, their curiosity piqued. Finally, the council's presiding officer, a tall, ethereal being with glowing eyes, raised a hand. "The challenge is accepted," they announced. "The fate of humanity will be decided by this game. Let it begin." As the council prepared the table and the deck of cards, Jack felt a surge of determination. This wasn't just about poker anymore. It was about proving that humanity's flaws were also its strengths, that their unpredictability, their resilience, and their creativity were worth fighting for. The stakes had never been higher, and as Jack took his seat across from Vexx, he knew one thing for certain: this was a game he couldn't afford to lose. The galaxy was watching, and the future of humanity hung in the balance. As the final poker game began, the tension in the room was almost tangible. The council chamber, once filled with murmurs and whispers, now fell into a heavy silence, every eye fixed on the table where Jack and Vexx sat. The cards were dealt, each one placed with deliberate precision, as if the fate of the galaxy rested on every flick of the dealer's wrist. Jack's mind raced, his years of experience and sharp intuition guiding his every move. Across the table, Vex's expression was unreadable, his alien features betraying no hint of emotion, but Jack knew better than to underestimate him. This wasn't just a game of chance, it was a battle of wits, strategy, and nerve. The first few rounds were cautious, each player testing the other's limits. Jack played carefully, his instincts telling him to bide his time. He watched Vexx closely, searching for any sign of weakness or hesitation. But Vexx was a master of deception, his every move calculated to throw Jack off balance. The stakes were higher than ever, and the weight of humanity's future pressed heavily on Jack's shoulders. Yet, despite the pressure, he remained focused, his determination unwavering. As the game progressed, the tension only grew. The council members leaned forward in their seats, their glowing eyes fixed on the table. The air seemed to crackle with energy, every card drawn and every bet placed sending ripples through the room. Jack's mind worked tirelessly, analyzing every possible outcome, every potential bluff. He knew this was his one chance to prove humanity's worth, to show that their flaws were also their greatest strengths. Then came the final hand, the cards were laid out, and the room held its breath. Jack's heart pounded in his chest as he revealed his hand, a perfect combination, a winning set that left no room for doubt. Vex's expression faltered for the first time, his confidence shaken. Jack stood, his voice steady and strong as he addressed the council. "This isn't just about cards," he declared. "It's about trust and understanding. Humanity may be unpredictable, but that's what makes us capable of greatness. Banning us won't solve your fear of the unknown. It will only limit the potential of the galaxy. The council members exchanged glances, their glowing eyes reflecting a mix of surprise and contemplation. For a moment, the room was silent, the weight of Jack's words hanging in the air. Then, one by one, the council members began to nod, their expressions softening. The presiding officer raised a hand, their voice resonating through the chamber. "The ban on humanity is hereby overturned," they announced, "but strict regulations will be imposed to ensure balance and fairness in all future interstellar competitions." The room erupted into murmurs, the tension finally breaking as the council's decision sank in. Jack felt a wave of relief wash over him, but his work wasn't done. He turned to Vexx, who sat in stunned silence, his once triumphant smirk replaced by a look of defeat. "This isn't the end," Jack said, his tone firm but not unkind. "It's a new beginning for all of us. The galaxy is stronger when we work together, not when we're divided." As the council adjourned and the chamber began to empty, Jack took a moment to reflect. The journey had been long and fraught with challenges, but it had also taught him invaluable lessons about trust, resilience, and the power of unity. He knew the road ahead wouldn't be easy, but he was ready to face it head-on. Humanity had earned its place in the galaxy, not through force or manipulation, but through ingenuity, determination, and the willingness to stand up for what was right. The story ends with Jack stepping out of the council chamber, the vast expanse of the galaxy stretching out before him. He felt a renewed sense of purpose, a determination to bridge the gap between humans and aliens, to build a future where both could thrive. The galaxy watched with newfound respect, its many species united by a shared understanding of humanity's resilience and creativity. And as Jack looked out at the stars, he knew one thing for certain: this was only the beginning.